Hello, and good morning. Oh man, I've been moving a lot of energy around. Okay, going back to the pink, some orange. Let's go. So today we are in day 12 of 13. I like to track these Mayan time codes. It's cycles of 13 days, and it happens 20 times, 20 different zodiac signs. So it's a lot of things going on. But 13 days at a time, each one of these waves is the theme of one of the 20 signs. All 20 signs will have a wave spell of 13 days. That's the entire 260-day cycle, 13 times 20. So day 12, every day is in a different sign. It's just repeating in the same sequence of 20 over and over and over and over again. So it's the same 20, but it's 13. And then it's going to start at like different points of the sequence, but it's just the same 20. Every 20 days is the same. Okay, just themed in 13 segments. All right. So this is day 12, and each number is a different energy, is a different expression of the wave. 12 is called crystal. So we are in crystal, what is it? Earth. Yesterday was spectral warrior. I was a bit feisty. I got a little bit drunk. I was acting a little crazy, but whatever. It's all in good fun. Okay. Um, Day 12 is about kind of zeroing out your essence, right? The wave kind of comes in on day one, the launch. I'm a magnetic launch, but it comes in on one and it's expanding, it's accumulating, it's balancing, right? All the way to 9 and then pulses out. So 9 is kind of like the boom, culmination. 10 interfaces into the world. 11 now begins to dissolve. We got to prepare it for the next launch, right? So it has to dissolve. And then 12, it's kind of zeroing out, balancing out like zero. Not to say day 12, tone 12 people don't have energy. It's just the energy kind of zeroes out and it's kind of like an empty container, right? It's your core essence, is what I believe. It's now back to the 0 point core essence, who you really truly are, your true original essence. 13 is called cosmic. It's gonna like kind of like have this illuminated core essence. It's like the whole wave is gonna now just like become like illuminated, right? And then preparing for the launch again, then again comes back in. So it's finishing, right? So stabilizing to 0 point, kind of going back into your core self, who you really are, just zeroed out, rebalanced. Okay. 13 is the last day, it's the conclusion of this wave. This wave was, or is, the World Bridger wave spell. So it's like a white tone theme. It's about connection and it's about, you know, surrendering or releasing the things that don't serve us to bridge connections that do. So, guys, sometimes I got a lot of downloads. I did some Kriya yoga for an hour. I kind of rebalanced and just kind of emptied out my chakras. There's been a lot of work going on. Okay, so I can feel how even my own chakras are in motion right now through a lot of people. I mean, dude, when you make posts that get like hundreds of comments and these micro amounts of relationship that are happening quantumly in school, it's your projection field as a coach, as an influencer, as an authority, as a figure, or community leader. Like, the more action you take, the more that projection field. We all have a projection field and it's in our throat chakra. I'm a projector in human design, so I think I'm more attuned to this projection field, but we all have a projection field, okay? I don't care what your zodiac sign is or your aura, we all have it. It's in your throat chakra and it's what you're radiating out. I'm a Taurus, and they say Taurus is the neck and the shoulders, is the throat chakra. So, you know, it's expressing who you are. Okay, so people join, they check my group out, they see that sometimes I act like a lunatic, they leave, it makes them uncomfortable, whatever. I think the truth is you not just don't want to work that hard, you know? Come on, it's a high ticket group. So if I'm a projector in human design, then I think I'm accepting the invitation of planet Earth, of all the people that want to grow a community and like a social media following and like be a coach and a leader, and like then how do you make money, and then like how do we make like faster money or enough money, if we're already used to making like 5 to 20K a month on average, then some close to 5, some close to 20, some even more than that, but that's kind of just where the middle is. I want faster money. I don't want this to take fucking 10 years, then it's high ticket. Okay. So it's like I'm accepting the invitation to show them how you do this faster. Okay. We're on the fast track. High ticket is the fast track. We're on the bullet train, okay? All you guys that want to do LTV slowly, okay, they're just going to take the slow train. They're going to enjoy the ride. It's going to take 5, 10, 15 years, okay? We're on the fast track. Okay, we're on the jet. We're on the Gulf Stream. All right, so I'm showing you the fast track. I'm in my masculine, in my Taurus or whatever, I'm showing you the consistent output that is required for success. And this is universal. This is how I built other businesses. This is how I scaled them quickly. It's not industry specific. It's a universal output. The universe responds to your energy. The market responds. It's consistency and it's commitment. Dude, I'm tired. I've been doing so much. I even worked like 7 days straight last week. And like, I'm going back to a Monday through Sunday schedule to integrate with society. We're in Red Earth today. It's a grid of society, of human beings. So I'm interfacing back to that grid. I've been an entrepreneur and like usually worked weekends, but since I'm now projecting like society massively, I'll go back to a Monday through Sunday schedule, just like most of you guys are on. Okay, so I'm defining to you the output and the work schedule, and you can do 12 times 5, 60 hours a week. We're gonna start there. Okay, if we're feeling extra motivated on Saturday, then maybe we do a little bit more on Saturday. Okay, Sunday, we take Sunday off, all right? This is just the schedule that I'm showing you that is probably the most average or normal schedule for all you guys, okay? In my feminine and even in my creative, I'm taking you on an emotional experience, okay? The people that follow me and the people that like me, I am emotionally like stimulating, and I show you a variety of emotions. Okay, from the pain and the sadness and the trauma and the loneliness, the healing journey. Then sometimes I'm crazy and a troll and a little bit, avant-garde, and I'm rebellious, I'm an anarchist. Okay, but then there's also me kind of politically correct. I'm like trying to have a good public image. It's funny, I try to have a good public image and then I say crazy shit, I go back and forth, but I'll balance myself out. I'm taking you on an emotional experience. Okay, most of you guys probably will never hire me. You get to be a part of this experience for free in a small amount just by being plugged in. Okay, for the people that do pay me, you get my full undivided attention, and I think they want to be a part of this experience. We would work together. I would vlog about it. We would talk about the progress and the client wins. The people that are going to hire me, they're going to want to have a part of this. It would be fun and exciting, and it would be interesting. It's going to be people that already have money and they've already done decently well in life. Okay. Those are the only people that can truly afford to pay me. at this price. Okay. Everyone else will do like lower ticket things, maybe group things in the future. You may catch me at a cohort price, like, 8 to 12 people, at a much lower price, maybe like $197. If 8 to 12 people all, subconsciously said I would do that, then I'll launch a group program eventually. And then you can get the coaching experience, and have a team. And that might be fun. Okay. That would still be like 2 grand, which to me is like, not that much. But, if enough people wanted me to do it for like $200, I probably would. The number that I see is 197. Okay, well, you got to convince enough people in the group to want to do this, and I'll launch a group program. But that's not my primary focus. All right, so on Crystal Day, we are going back to our 0 point core essence. Who are you when the energy zeroes out, when the wave dissolves? Okay. I'm a multifaceted being. I'm a creative, I'm a businessman, I'm an artist. Sometimes I'm rebellious, sometimes I'm a little crazy, sometimes I'm very rational, maybe even boring business guy. There's so many sides to me that I'm showing you guys. Half is just, man, it's just consistent, sheer output, commitment, consistent. Imagine you have 3 clients already in the future. They've already agreed to pay you. You know your price, and it's coming to you. The money's being transferred to your account. Okay, so cool. That's nice, but I still want the rocket and the crown. But we'll get there eventually. Don't slow down. Once you make the money, once you get the money, don't slow down. Stay consistent. Keep pushing at least 60-hour weeks. If you really want to hit the rocket or make full-time money or get your first high-ticket client, I need you to be producing at around 60 hours a week. You got to ask that of yourself. Some can do even more than that, but for most people, we got to get you in the habit of increasing your output because you don't have enough total working time. Okay. Once we conceptualize total working time, then it's you make content, you engage on other people's content. Huh? Anything else? You make content, you engage on other people's content. That's what you're doing. So every extra hour of the day you're making content, you're engaging on other people's content, and you're just trying to cycle that and be productive. Okay, now what makes them follow you, or what makes them join you, or what makes them be super fans and go through all your content? Oh, what's Benjamin going to talk about today? What colors is he going to use today? Is he going to be crazy or nice or spiritual? I don't know, right? You never know what you're going to get with me because every day I'm a different person. Every day my energy changes. Every day I'm going to use different chakras, Consistently, I'm using pink and red now, consistently, but there's 5 other chakras, at least 5 other colors. Maybe I use purple, maybe I use blue, maybe I use yellow, maybe I use green, okay, or orange. So maybe silver, what does that energy feel like? Platinum, or brown, or black, or gray, or any kind of earth tones. So red, earth, day 12, earth. Earth is like a grid of like a planetary consciousness. And it is humanity, but it's also Earth as like a school. Earth is the school, We're here to have fun, it's a game, but it's also a school. Life itself, Earth. I believe in reincarnation. I think it just makes sense, so the souls keep coming back around and around and around. Like, what are we trying to figure out? Are we trapped here? Are we not trapped here? Is it a choice? Nobody knows. Just make the best of it, man. We are here. Okay, so now that we are here, then what are we going to do about it? You're going to do your very best. You're going to try to find some kind of like soul inspiration, We want to feel inspired. I need to join new groups because I've ran out of groups that inspire me. All the groups that I'm in now, the posts that I haven't gone through, I've gone through about 90 to 95% of every single post in every single group that I'm in. If I have not gone through the rest of the posts, it's because that group just doesn't inspire me anymore. Synthesizer, it's boring. They're all just talking about mindset blocks. It's really fucking boring, Imperium Academy, same thing. It's a lot of like tier three, just like young men, and I think that Charlie exaggerates a lot. He acts like he's made $30 million, but he only has a crown. And, it's just maybe on other platforms, but he also has a business partner. So then you're cutting that in half again. And then, the ads and like, I don't know, but he does have a large YouTube channel. I just think he's kind of exaggerating. He's got a picture next to a Lambo, but I think he just lives in a medium-sized house in Dubai. Okay, I'm not feeling like an eight-figure net worth lifestyle. I'm gonna have an entire course in my classroom that's gonna be called Social Proof, and it's every single client that I get on school. It's going to be that going into my bank account, and then it's also going to be me making purchases with that money. I'm going to show you all three fucking manifestations of all the money that I make on school as a digital marketer and on social media. I'm going to say, these were the people that hired me. Here's the MRR proof. Here's the Stripe. Here's the direct deposit. And then here's my lifestyle. Here's the lease. I'm going to probably move to Vietnam. Here's my rent. This is how much it costs. Here's all my memberships. I'm going to show you every fucking part financially, just because we need honesty and transparency in government, in politics, and in the people that we follow and trust our money. Dude, you need to be extra honest as a coach. I feel like I have to be super honest as a coach because coaches can be so dishonest and they exaggerate everything. I will not exaggerate anything, guys. I'll show you. If I get the rocket, dude, you can literally just there's probably quite a few emoji ranks that if they're having a slow month, they just funnel money in through another account, through a proxy account, okay, to keep the emoji. You need to think about that. Just because they even have the emoji does not mean they're not just funneling money in or borrowing money just to make it look like they still have the emoji. So the only way you can prove it is well, who are your actual clients, or is that just you on a fake account? I am super fucking honest because the world needs honesty and transparency. Because I feel like, Charlie, you're acting like you've made 30 million. He keeps changing the numbers too. Sometimes he says 30, sometimes he says 15. He keeps changing it, 20. And, I'm like, bro, I think you are, now I think you're grossly exaggerating many things. And, you're trying to sell up a storm. He's good at talking. Charlie of Imperium Academy. He's a crown. It's a money group, probably top 10. There's 50,000 people in there, but most of them are tier three, teenagers and young adults that are impressed by someone acting like they're a heavy 8-figure net worth, when I'm like, he might be a millionaire. I don't know. There's not enough lifestyle proof. There's just a lot of talking. Okay, so if I ever get to the point, guys, where I say I have an 8-figure net worth, you better believe I'm going to show you. These are all the people that hired me. Okay, how do you know they're not just shell accounts of me funneling it in? Then you just have to look at my lifestyle and what I'm doing with the money. How much of it am I saving? How much of it am I investing? What about taxes? Even though I'm a digital nomad, I'm still an American citizen and I still have to file my taxes every year, which is annoying unless I can become a dual citizen or a permanent resident. Then I may be able to change certain things. But, okay, you got I think we need to be hyper honest with finances. Okay, if I ever make bold claims, I'm gonna have an entire fucking folder in my classroom that's social proof, and I will show you exactly. And then how can you literally verify something? Banks, you would have them send a notary kind of letter, okay? If you wanted Goldman Sachs or something to verify funds, then they send an email, and it's essentially notarized by a financial, I don't know what the titles are, but an agent person. And then they verify the transaction, right? They're putting their reputation and their name with the company email It's a legitimate email, right? Traced back to the company with probably some kind of like, here's my badge number or what ID number, it's some kind of financial agent, right? Whatever. And then so that's how you verify and notarize large purchases, you know. So like Forbes, if Forbes is going to dig into your net worth and they want, it's all like endorsed with their reputation of the company, right? Because I've been at this company. Here's my ID number, right? Here is the company email address, right? So they're willing to, anyways, that's the only way you can really like verify something is a notarized transaction. And then it's the company's reputation, professional reputation. Okay, anyways, Benjamin's not a billionaire yet, so we don't need to talk about that. But I'm just saying, like, God, so many people are exaggerate through their ass, and it's annoying. It annoys me. Okay, you had an 8-figure exit. Okay, but how much was that was debt? How much of that was investment? How much did you actually own? Okay, then what about after the taxes? Do you know what I mean? All of a sudden, an 8-9-figure exit can turn into like what? I don't know, just a few million. I don't know, right? I don't know. I wouldn't know unless you showed us your lifestyle, okay? Anyways, that's besides the point. I'm here to take you on an emotional experience. I'm here to show you the consistent, just sheer output of entrepreneurship, period. And then they want to see the social media funnels, they want the followers, they want the viral content, and they don't want to admit it, but you're going to have to be doing outreach the entire time as you're climbing in influence and social worth. You're just going to have to do it, okay? For all the people that argue, okay, do it your way for another 6 to 12 months, and then let's come back to the same fucking conversation. You're trying to tell me you don't need to do cold outreach, and then let's chat in a year, and you're going to be probably exactly where you're at, maybe a couple hundred more followers. Okay, get over it and stop being so fucking arrogant, man. You're not that special. Okay, stop acting like you are that special. I'm not that special, but I am special because I produce at the level of a fucking champion. That's what brings in the money. That's how I grew all my businesses. Okay? Whether or not you think someone's a liar or exaggerates, okay, are they willing to verify transactions? Then you need to look at their momentum. Are they showing up every day with a tremendous amount of focus, commitment, excellence, showing you every single part of their business, the statistics? This is literally how many people I talk to. This is even how many posts that I made. These are the groups that my posts went viral in. Here's the link to the fucking post. I'm probably already got 150, now close to 200 comments on that Schoolers post. That's a banger. I made a banger just by posting Monday motivation, but it wasn't Monday motivation. It was, what does it mean for you to make this dream come true, this school dream come true? That's an emotionally captivating post. My viral content is emotionally stimulating and engaging. I make emotionally arousing content. That's what goes viral. Whether that's ranting or acting like a lunatic. My 2 most viral posts in Goosify that I cleared 100. 100 I give micro banger status, but a real banger post is gonna get like 200 to 300, 400. The most viral post I ever made, what hit like 300 in like the first hour. And it gets so crazy that people are now all like talking and arguing amongst themselves. Like that's when it gets crazy. When people are now having sub conversations in the post, that's when it gets fucking crazy. Like 5, 6, 10 people are like arguing with each other. And I'm like, whoa, it's like a tornado. That's a lot of fun when that happens. That post got shut down. That was in a Taoism group. But I'll show you how to make viral bangers. I've been making viral posts like on Facebook for a few years now, so I'm pretty good at it. There's a formula. It's an art form. It's emotionally stimulating, and or super polarizing. Two force, like it's showing you unresolved conflict in human beings' minds, really, in a cultural and even like a societal lens. It was about gender and masculinity and femininity, and then people are arguing. Why are so many people arguing and commenting? Because it shows you how many people have unresolved like identity crisis or imbalanced masculine feminine energy, right? That's why so many people are commenting on it, because it's showing you how all of them are imbalanced. You know, sometimes they're seeking balance, oftentimes they're just perpetuating the chaos, right? So you're seeing their trauma blocks just like acting crazy, and you're activating that in them, and then the post just goes fucking crazy. You know what I mean? It's showing, like the BLM kind of Black Lives Matter, like that was a polarizing, very intense movement, and I'm neither here nor there. I was in Houston at the time. I like black people, but the hatred and the hostility that goes both ways, that's what's toxic. Love and compassion and trying to understand each other. Okay, I lived next to NRG Stadium in Houston. It was a black kind of area. you know Black people and Asian people get along, for some reason, genetically. Like, it's a good combination. It's like Travis Scott has a song Black and Chinese. I don't know. Black and Chinese goes pretty well together. Chinese people have that fire, and black people have that kind of mystical, kind of have that water kind of psychic kind of. They are attuned to like, certain things, like for sure, like spirits and stuff. But it's a mystical, like 3 6 Mafia, it's fucking mystical. I love Juicy J. He's one of my favorite rappers. I like Travis Scott a lot too. But anyway, so movements, and it's a crazy viral thing, and people, it's the chaotic, trauma and blocks that becomes activated, and people just start getting fucking crazy about it, you know. Okay, anyway, so viral post in schoolers. Okay, I'm hitting my 300 back, and then I take it back to we go back to reality, back to the roots. Okay, focus now. Get back to work. I'm doing 300 outbound on school. I'm trying to do that by like 3 p.m. This is a really fucking intense pace that I'm setting for myself. I'm going to start by showing you guys 60 hours a week, 100% working on your school business and your social media business, okay? Your marketing business. Like, I'm going to show you 60, and then we'll see. Depending on how I feel, maybe I do more on that Saturday, but I'm probably never going to do more than like 70 hours in a week. To me, that's just not how hard that I work. To me, it's not sustainable, to go more than 70. It's just not. I've tried, but I've always crashed and burned, so that is my limit, and I'm willing to admit my limit. My limit is like maybe another 6 day of 12 hours. That's like 72 hours, but that's pretty much my limit. Like, I could do 14 times 5 is 70, but that's really is my upper limit, and I will need those 2 days off, okay? I'm just being honest with you guys. Like, I think the world needs to see, like, how many hours, what does the schedule actually look like? And then are they actually doing it, or do they just exaggerate? Oh yeah, 100-hour weeks. Like, no, you don't. You play a lot of Diablo, Elon, you play video games, and you take days off. Okay, just be honest. Stop trying to be like superhuman, and it's totally an exaggeration. Why do men like to do? They always exaggerate. Oh yeah, I work 90 hours a week. No, you don't. You worked like 50 hours last week. Shut up. Stop lying. Okay, so I'm doing a 300. I'm trying to hit that 300 comments, organic comments. It really means inspiring groups that make me really want to like scrub. That's what I've learned from going through about 40,000 posts on school. You're looking for high resonating groups that are really interesting and inspiring. It's so much easier to want to go through a group and participate. You're looking for just really highly resonating groups. And then once you go through the whole group, then, you keep tabs on them and you come back later. You stay active in that group. How many groups can we really have an active presence in? 10 to 20, probably. You just occasionally go back in there, you pop in there. Right now, I only have 2 groups that I'm actually farming. It's Goosify and it's the School Hub. I like Goose and I like Joseph, similar vibes, similar to me. We're like conscious guys, but we work really hard, like so I see myself in them, conscious leaders. And they're interesting, and they make content, and so I think they're cool guys. So I only have 2 of 20 spots filled. I'm looking for 18 more groups that give me that feeling. You know what I mean? And like the smaller medium groups, like they don't take that long to go through. Like even my own group, it wouldn't take that long to go through. You could go through every single one of my posts in probably a couple hours. You know, most of it is me posting. I don't read every single post, but I tune into it and I feel the energy. And if it's the person's picture, it's the title, that's scrubbing the group. But there are groups that if you're scrubbing it and it just gets really boring, I'm not gonna bash them, but there are a few that come to mind. It's just it's not exactly a perfect fit for me. I'll stay in the group, and you have kind of like an inner ring. That's gonna be your top 10, top 20 groups. You have an outer ring, maybe like another 30 to 50 groups. Like I'll stay in the group, but I may only pop in like once a week, you know. So yeah, we're looking to fill up that resin. That's what you're actually doing when you're scrubbing. That's the actual process of organic school. Okay. And then if it feels appropriate to post in those groups that you're farming, maybe daily, maybe every other day, like Goosify. I think I can post every 1 to 3 days in there. School Hub, I'm posting daily because I'm paying for, advertising rights in that group. So I am posting daily, sometimes twice a day in that group. Okay. That's organic school. You're trying to go viral and you're trying to get the post pinned and you're trying to get magnets because it's easier than having to go out 300 times. It's easier if 300 people just come to you, right? It's so much easier if then I could finish my 300 even faster. So if you make a viral post and you get like 1,000 people to comment, then I could just respond to every single one of those comments, and then I'll hit my 300 for the day in like an hour. Okay. I can respond to 300 like how long does it take to respond to 300 comments? That actually only really takes like an hour or two. Okay, so it's taking me like still 8, sometimes 10 hours to hit those 300 because you're farming resonance. You know what I mean? You're farming, but like if you become viral enough to where they just come to you, then like, dude, that makes my life so much easier. Okay, but until we get to that level, you still should hit that number, whether that's 50 or 100 or 200 comments a day. Track the comments on a tally, on a counter. Otherwise, you never know what you're actually doing. You don't have a predictable business. You're just leaving it to chance, okay? Like take yourself seriously and respect yourself as an entrepreneur and track your fucking stats, man. For a marketer to not check their stats, for an agency to not check their stats, that's like, you know. Anyways, I don't have to convince you of that. You need to convince yourself if you really want to have a business, okay? And then, okay, now we're spending some time. I'm trying to spend 3:30 to 6 p.m. I am going through each of the 4 social media apps. It doesn't have to be 30 minutes per each platform: Facebook and IG, TikTok and YouTube. Those are my 4. Your 4 may be different, but I think it's kind of a universal 4. I'm not interested in Pinterest. I'm not interested in LinkedIn or Reddit or blogging. So what else would it be? I mean, you can switch one of those out for like email or, blogging, but that's for me, that identify your other 4 in a square: north, south, east, west. We got TikTok, YouTube, IG, Facebook. Okay. So a lot of the top people on school have huge followings. So that's why you have 50,000 people in Imperium Academy, because he's got a huge YouTube funnel. That's why I have 30,000 people in Synthesizer, because Kirby has like 600,000 subs on YouTube. I didn't know that. He's got quite a lot of followers on YouTube. That's why they're joining. But when they come from YouTube and TikTok and IG, like they're not used to the platform, so they may only be spending like 20 minutes a day on school, or like 30 minutes, a week. So you're also looking, if you really want school to be the main thing, and that's where you're choosing to put your community, then people that are already on, like, think about every single account as like, how many hours a week do you spend on school? Benjamin's spending like, 60 hours, 40 to 60 hours a week on school. That is the highest level of someone, on the platform. Okay, how much time do you spend on each platform every week? That's how you think about it. Okay, TikTok's probably my favorite app, and then YouTube, but IG and Facebook and Meta is still relevant, even though we may disagree with their policy. That's still relevant. You can still make a lot of money working with them. Okay, you don't have to love somebody to make money with them. Okay, sometimes just a necessary evil with Meta, but the evil is the censorship and the limiting people. The free speech. That's the evil. Is censorship, and you can't talk about COVID. Like that's what's annoying. That you're trying to censor people. You're trying to shape public opinions. That is violating free will. That's what bothers me. But other than that, fine. I used to really love Facebook. I mean, I remember I was in high school, and so Facebook was like my first, you know, it was better than MySpace. So, you know, Facebook is probably the platform I spent the most time with, and then IG is probably the one I spent the least amount of time with. But you're making content, right? You probably should be posting at least once a day on all four of those apps, just, if that takes an hour or less. And then, you're trying to get followers that, come from your content, and then you have to go outbound to get people to come to you, right? In the DM, and then to your profile, and then to your school. So that's all it is, guys. It's not that overwhelming. You either make content or you engage on other people's content to get them to come to your content. And not just your content, but your school group, right? And then a relationship with you, which manifests as DMs and then calls that they do with you. That's the only way we manifest relationships on the internet. The hottest relationship would be people who want to do video calls with us like every day. I don't know why you would want to do video calls every day, but or it's like you're so in love with each other that now you meet each other and then maybe even decide to move in together and get married. That's, other than that, it's the frequency of how much you're communicating. They go through every post, they watch every video, they're like really curious about you. You're very interesting, Okay, so that's the highest level of a relationship. So you're just turning cold to warm. That's the hottest level of a relationship. I follow you on every single platform. I look at every single post that you make daily. If you make 2 hours of content a day, I'm spending 2 hours a day with you in my mind. Do you know what I mean? So I buy all your stuff. I go to all your shows and concerts, and, I bought every single product. Like, some people are obsessed with Goose. They went to Antarctica. They joined the cohort. They've spent like 5 figures already with him. So, that is a fucking super fan. Or some people feel that way about like Tony Robbins or something. So, okay, total stranger. You're not cold prospecting. The last thing I'll say in conclusion, you're not cold prospecting, man. You're just making friends with a stranger. You don't have to be weird and solicitous. You don't have to pitch them at all. You're just creating a relationship, because if they hire you at a high ticket price, that means they're quite friendly with you, and they've identified that you are the one to help them amongst everyone else at that price point. Do you know what I mean? That takes a significant amount of, curiosity or attraction or friendliness, and professional authority. So, when you're doing high ticket, like, it's a very warm connection. I think very rarely would anyone ever hire you high ticket unless they just thought that you had the sauce or the skills. It's usually a very high level of a relationship and a friendship, a connection, okay? So why would a total stranger just want to hop on a call with you without progressing through the friendship, stages? They probably wouldn't. And that's why your cold outreach strategy is not that great. Like, yeah, maybe if you help them out for like a few $100 or it's very low ticket. But if you want to sell high ticket, it's more of a relationship and it's with a wealthier audience. Okay. So you post content in school groups, in your own group. You post content on Facebook, IG, Twitter, and YouTube. That's all you can fucking do. Or then make a blog, or then LinkedIn or Pinterest, or what else would it be? Reddit? No. You just post content on those platforms, right? I think you should spend 80% of your time on school, 20% of your time on other apps. Okay. You're trying to get them to come to your profile and you're trying to get them to talk to you in DMs and then eventually want to do video calls with you and then eventually want to do coaching calls with you because they hired you, right? You're selling a relationship, man. If it's high ticket, it's a relationship, okay? It's a connection that's valuable to them, right? Then you do the onboarding and then the process begins. All right, so yes, you have that business side. I'm explaining to you exactly what the fuck you're doing in at least 60 hours a week. You need to just commit to this, man. However much time extra you have, like if you work 40 hours, then you've got 20 hours at least to put into your school business. We start there. 60 hours a week is doable. You're not going to die and you're not going to crash and burn. You are going to be probably pretty tired. You can still take 2 days off. You can do it. Okay. That's an extra 4 hours a day times 5. Okay. If that's too much, then start with 2 hours a day times 5. Take your 2 days off. Okay. Start with 10 hours and then gradually build that up to 11, 12, 13, 20 hours. Then I'm talking like 16, 30 weeks cycles. Like, okay, after 30 weeks, can we do more than 60? Maybe we can do 62. I know that's fucking OCD to track every hour, but it's like, if you really want a business, man, it's okay to be a little bit OCD. Maybe I can increase it to 62. You're trying to find that exact amount, that number, or that energy level of I am giving my very best to the market and maximizing my value, maximizing my net worth. That's why you're doing that. What's the most I can give consistently and not just feel totally dead or exhausted? Maybe it's 50, maybe it's 60, maybe it's 70 hours a week, okay? And then you're trying to be emotionally compelling and interesting, supportive at times, leading them at times, sometimes driving the energy, sometimes healing the energy, sometimes just entertaining them and being a friend or just being funny or crazy or, viral. Okay. So you're taking them on an emotional experience. That's what it means to influence people. It's an emotionally stimulating, it's an engaging conversation. It's an inspiring group that I want to go through all the posts and then I want to stay in the group, week after week after week, daily, giving you all my time and my energy because you're interesting or you're useful or I just really like your energy or it's really helpful. When you stop posting, I get very tired. A lot of people are running on my momentum. And then if I take 2 days off, they're like, damn, it feels like empty. School is just not the same when you're taking days off, bro, because you're really running that, aren't you? All right, guys, much love. Have a productive day. Tomorrow ends the wave, so that will be an interesting day. And then the launch in 2 days. 13 and 1 are very interesting days to me. I really love 13, 1, 9, and 11. Those are my favorite days of the wave spell. So, all right. So the last day, tomorrow, we end the wave in mirror day. I'm actually a mirror, so it will be my code tomorrow. And then we're going to launch again in Storm. I really like Storm as well. It's one of my favorite codes. Okay, guys, have a great day, productive day. I'll see you tomorrow.